I'll tell you the story behind my Facebook shirt.
What's up? This is Jason Drone. Welcome to Sales Systems Experts, episode number 7, where we talk about marketing automation and buyer journeys. And I am joined by Aaron Parkinson. So how are you, good sir?
Well, I'm double barreling today because I've got the Hulk.
Yeah.
And I've got the shirt.
Nice. There you go.
And this shirt is directly from Facebook headquarters. You cannot get them anywhere else. I've never worn it. I think I've had it for like 2 years.
Right.
And I thought today I'll break it out for our show. Right. It's my
very nice,
my very fancy special Facebook shirt.
So is there like a merchandise counter at Facebook where you go, or do they just give them out for free?
Well, this one was given to me, but they do have a merch store there, but it's their very specific blue, their very specific font, So you can only get it at Facebook headquarters, and
they're copyright protected or trademarked.
Sure. It's probably listening to me right now, Tom. It's probably collecting data, probably analyzing my BMI and like all sorts of things that I don't even know. Probably a microchip in the collar, but so we're talking today about automations and follow-ups, really kind of go hand in hand. So maybe you or I can do it, is sort of give people the lay of the land of when you're creating an offer. And I want to talk a little bit about this today too, what the difference between the brand and the offer is. But when you're creating an offer, there's a certain baseline of conversions to a sale. If you're in e-commerce, it's how many people visit the site, how many buy the product, how many buy the upsell, the downsell, what do they add to their cart, what is their lifetime value, or what is their average order value. And then there's all these automations that can be put into play that then traditionally from our experience, and I'll use e-commerce as the example today, can boost the average order value or the return on your paid media by as much as 40%.
Right.
And if you don't have that 40% in play, then it's almost like, running a race with one leg. It's very, very difficult to get to the amount of revenue you need to justify the costs of paid media. And we specialize in paid media. So, it's all about, getting the ROI on that dollar invested. So for me, when we take on an e-commerce client, we look at what their baseline conversion is through, their product offering. And then we look at 5 different sectors of where they can increase their return on their ad spend. And so I'm talking about it from an e-commerce standpoint. You can probably talk to it even more in depth from an info marketing standpoint. But maybe I'll give you like my hit list of e-commerce stuff that when we deal with a store, these are the things that we check right away. So the first thing that we check is, do they have their email set up appropriately? And when we're talking about email, your order confirmation email, your abandoned cart email, your onboarding series for your email. Some people call that a nurturing email series. And then your promotional calendar. So we've got 4 different sectors there. Number 1, your confirmation email. So many people undervalue their confirmation email because they just think it's supposed to be that thing that says, here's your receipt.
Right.
But it's the one that people open the most.
Yeah.
Right. So offering some type of call to action inside of there is super, super valuable. You can just a really simple thing you can do is say, thank you so much for your order. Here's your confirmation receipt. Here's a special promo code that you can use, right, to get an additional 20% off of anything if you use it in the next 24 hours. Right. Here, use the promo, click here, go back to the store, and people are like, ooh, I get an extra bonus if I use it today.
Right.
Yep. You'll have a certain percentage of people that'll take that. Right. Your abandoned cart email series, right? I mean, our abandoned cart email series, was responsible for almost 2% of our revenue in our store. So somebody gets to a cart, they don't finish their order, they get an email series that says, hey, you left this in your cart. Do you want to still continue? Do you want to buy it? Time's ticking down kind of thing. You can pick up another automated chunk of money right there. Mm-hmm. Then in your onboarding and nurturing series, so, thank you so much for buying with us. Over the next couple of days, you're going to learn more about our company and what we do, and the why we launched it, what makes us tick, blah 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 blah. Traditional nurturing series. Inside of that, there can always be subtle or aggressive links and calls to action back to your store, where ultimately, people are going to shop some more. And Ezra Firestone, who's a friend of mine who owns Boom by Cindy Joseph, he was actually showing something the other day where on his About Us page, so like the story of the business, of the brand, the people who go to that page and click on the link, he has a call to action on his About Us page, to visit the store, are the highest converting people of any place that he possibly has.
It's interesting.
Because they're reading the heart and the soul of the brand. And if they resonate it with it, they almost want to be like, yeah, this is what I'm all about. I'm going to click here. And again, that's just another automated place. And I never really thought about it, to be honest with you, until he told me that. I've never put a call to action to shop the store in an About Us page. Yeah. But he's like, these are the most valuable customers we have. So that's another automated, entry point that can pick it up. And then last but not least, a promotional calendar, right? So if you're like, hey, I'm going to launch a new product, or I'm going to feature a new product or whatever, and I'm going to do it on these 3 days a month, you can set that up way ahead of time. Emails go out, countdowns go down to when the sale ends or the promo ends, and you'll pick it up. And email for us in our e-commerce store accounted for over 10% of our monthly revenue. And I know that in the info marketing world, this is like breathing, like everybody. I've been teaching info marketing since mid 2000s. And if you didn't have a follow-up email series and a promotional series, and you're a moron. But in e-commerce, I think a lot of people undervalue it. And it was 10% of our revenue. And more importantly, it's not the same revenue because there's no advertising cost associated with it. Right. So where you might spend, 50% of your advertising dollars acquiring a customer. You're spending no money in email to sell to that customer. So that the profit margin on those sales is exponentially more value. You're increasing the revenue of the business by 10%, but it might only cost you, it's basically as much as whatever the email autoresponder costs you per month. So it's basically free.
Yeah. Right.
It's automated and it's free.
Yeah.
And so many people just undervalue.
Don't do anything with it.
They don't do it. And we would email every single day.
Yeah. Totally.
And a lot of people will say, oh, that's too aggressive, Bob. We did it, and it accounted for every time we sent an email, we made $1,400. And it didn't even have to be good.
Right.
I mean, it's better if it's good, but
I have a friend, e-com friend, who he sends 2 emails a day, every day, morning and afternoon. Morning is an offer. Afternoon is like bonding and content. So every day, 2 emails.
And I'd be interested to see what his number or her number is.
So he's got 350,000 people on his email list. So he's
we had 1.4 million on that list. And the open rates when you're emailing all the time, they go down and they go down.
Oh yeah, totally.
So we'd have to scrape them and clean it up and do all that kind of stuff, but it didn't matter. I mean, you send an email, we'd make $1,400.
Yep. Totally.
Not bad for 20 minutes of your time, because it's usually a template or something, and you can set it up completely automated for 30 days. Yeah. And just let it do its thing.
Just go through. Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. How do you see that apply, to the more info marketing side?
So same thing. I mean, you have your transactional emails, so the transactional email would be like you downloaded a report, you bought something, the invoice gets sent out and all that stuff. So of course that needs to be set up. So I think it's important to, in the info marketing and the coaching space, it's important to realize that it's not you turn on traffic and you get sales. Like with e-com, in a lot of situations, physical products just generally have a higher conversion on the sales page than a digital product because it's not tangible. Right. So physical product, you might have 6%, 8%, 10% conversions. If it's on Amazon, it might be 16%, whereas digital product, 0.5%, 1%, 2%, 3%, is what you're a little bit more accustomed to seeing. So the buyer journey typically takes a little bit longer. There's a more know, like, and trust factor that needs to be built up because it isn't a physical product. You're not actually receiving anything. You're receiving something digital, So the thing that, I try to impress upon clients is it isn't they click an ad, they go buy something. Oftentimes it's they click an ad, then they watch a video, then they read down the page, then they click another page, then they go to an order form, then they have to go find their credit card. There's lots of little like micro transactions that have to transpire in order to get them to purchase. And in the automation game, each of those little micro transactions, oftentimes you can trigger an email that goes out. So somebody, hits like for us, for instance, like if somebody hits one of our sales pages and we have their email address, they get automatically added into a sequence, that fires out and says, hey, we noticed you were on this page. So now let's send you 6 emails in a day because I know you're hyper aware of this thing right now. And then they come to the page and then they click the add to cart button. Then they go to the order form. Well, now that puts them in a different email sequence. And that's like the cart abandonment sequence. Yeah. So in that, if the order isn't processed in 30 minutes, they get an email from us that says, hey, your shopping cart is still full. You still got that special savings or whatever that is in your shopping cart. Then once they actually buy, then they get that order confirmation. And then we tell them, here's your thing. But in the next couple of days, we're going to be emailing you a free webinar or a free video or whatever. So make sure you read this thing because it's important for your growth, your future success, whatever. And then look forward to the next few things that we're going to be emailing you. But that's if there's no upsells. If there's an upsell in the process, then we send them what is called like an ascension email sequence. So they bought the front end thing, but not the upsell. So we then send them a bunch of emails to try to get them to buy that upsell. And if they bought that, but not this, we send them a bunch of emails to try to get them to buy that. So we step them up through the process. And if they don't buy anything, we send them a couple other front end offers sideways, so they didn't buy this thing. So we want them to buy this thing and then this thing, so that's
something that might be, in alignment with what we were trying to sell them, but just wasn't the right fit.
Right. So, and if you have multiple products, you can sell multiple products like sideways like that, or you can sell affiliate offers, which is what a lot of our clients do that don't have multiple offers, so just because somebody didn't buy from you doesn't mean they don't like you, or it doesn't mean they don't like the thing, the product, whatever. It might be that you didn't resonate with them, or your page didn't catch their attention, or, it was people just don't buy from men or women, or the age was wrong or whatever, so maybe there's an affiliate offer that you can mail them to. You're still capturing some revenue, still generating some cash flow, but it's not necessarily selling your thing. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me. It may not make any sense to anybody that we're
right.
It makes perfect sense to me. The second automation that I want to talk about is retargeting. And, from an e-commerce standpoint, so I wore the Facebook shirt today. There's a whole bunch of statistics thrown all over the place. Like a customer needs to see your offer 7 times before they convert, or 14 or 21, or it just depends on who you talk to. Right. So for us, anytime somebody watches a video, or anytime somebody clicks on our page, or anytime somebody engages with our social media, that's the first interaction. Like a lot of people think the first interaction is the first time they go to your site, or they give you an email, or they buy, and it's not. It's the first time they engage with anything you do. It could just be watching 10 seconds of a video. It could be liking your fan page. It could be Googling your stuff and ending up on one of your blog posts, or whatever, right? So the whole idea is once, if we're targeting the United States and there's 400x million people, and all of a sudden 20 million of them take some action somewhere, then you don't want to be marketing to the 400 million anymore, because that's expensive and it's shotgun approach and scattered. You want to market to the 20 million who've already put their hands up and said,
Right.
I have some interest in what's going on here.
Yep.
And that's where you can start to set up automated retargeting campaigns based on different events inside of Facebook, inside of Instagram, inside of Google, inside of YouTube, wherever you're pulling data in, you can structure them. You can send them content about your company. You can send them case studies about your product. You can send them, testimonials from people unboxing it. You can send them, promotional material. Like the longer they're on without buying, you can just send them promotional stuff that's like accelerating an aggression, where you've seen my stuff for 30 days, but you haven't bought. Well, I'm going to offer you a 10% discount today.
Right.
60 days, I'm going to offer you a 30% discount.
Yep.
90 days of seeing my stuff, you're still not buying. I'm putting the hammer down to get you in. Because once you get them to be a buyer, then that's like the holy grail. There might be a 50% discount in 90 days or whatever, right? And so we structure all of that media retargeting up as part of our campaigns automatically. And then a lot of cases we'll use outside services as well, like AdRoll, for example, right? And AdRoll is just basically an automated way to get your banner advertisement, which, I see doneforyou.com everywhere I go, for example. And it's just an automated way to get your banner up across all of the inventory of banners that are available everywhere. And if you've ever clicked on something and then you see their ads like in banners on every site you visit forever, you can do that through Google, or you can just do it through a simple service like AdRoll. And typically for us, like if we add AdRoll into a client's account, it will attribute somewhere between 5 to 10% of their sales automatically at a return on ad spend that's like 7 to 10 to 1.
Yeah,
because it's all retargeting based. The people already know the product, they already know the customer, or they already know the business. It's not fresh. It's retargeting. They already know about it. So you offer them a little discount or something to get them off their butt. You don't even have to offer them a discount. It's just the fact that they're seeing it everywhere, following them. Setting up those types of retargeting automations. When we have our campaign structured, we'll see what we call the warm audience, the retargeting audience. We'll see that convert at somewhere between a 5 to an 8 times return on ad spend, whereas a cold audience might be a 2. Right. So the whole goal is to blend them all together to get ultimately the average that you want out. And much of it, there's lots of creative testing that goes on to improve it, but just putting it in and automating it, will increase your revenue and cut down on your cost per acquisitions, tremendously.
Totally.
So I don't know if you have anything genius to add to that.
Well, two things. So AdRoll has like an email marketing functionality now. So if AdRoll can find the email address for somebody who visits your website, then it will send out templated emails to them, and you can segment it like a sequence. So, which is super sweet. I actually just turned it on last week, so you're probably going to be getting some email from me, not from me, but from AdRoll. So which is cool. Also, in the whole buyer journey, it's important to realize in setting up the retargeting campaigns that people are either getting warmer to your offer or colder from your offer. And Aaron, mentioned it in giving bigger discounts as people are like leaving or they're cooling off from your offer. One thing is like how you would set it up inside Facebook is you basically create audiences. So the audience might be, if they've been to my website within 30 days, then they see this ad. If they've been to my website in 30 to 60 days, they see this ad. And then you step it out. We oftentimes have done it as small windows as small as 7 days. So basically we treat the 7-day windows like little mini autoresponder sequences where we're throwing a different offer, a different lead magnet, a different thing in front of them. So because they are cooling off, and if they cool off enough, then you might need to pivot them into a different offer or a different lead magnet or a different thing because they've maybe already found a solution that wasn't you. So it's just an interesting thing to think about.
Absolutely. And that's where you start to, like, when you start to see that type of retargeting being set up, you really know that the person knows what they're doing, because most people won't go that. I mean, when we talk about retargeting buyers, like that's the funny thing. Like lots of people won't set up retargeting.
Yeah.
Post the buy. Like once they got the buy, they're like, I won.
Yeah, right. no, there's 6 more offers.
Yeah, why are we not retargeting with more stuff that we have and selling those things?
Right.
They're your best leads. Let's sell them more stuff. So we see a lot of people sort of stop that retargeting process at that point, and they leave a lot of money on the table.
Yeah.
From an e-commerce standpoint, one of the things that has been hot, but it's been nerve-wracking, is SMS. And with SMS, with text advertising, like the open rate is, let's call it email like 17% on average or whatever, where SMS is like 90 something, percent. Like even if they don't open it, they see it and it goes ding on your phone and it's super, super effective and super simple to set up those automated SMS, and you can use that for all the same things as email autoresponders, like, hey, your order's on the way, or hey, here's a special discount, or hey, here's a promotional calendar. And some of the e-com guys that I work with, SMS, especially around like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, played an unbelievably massive role in their revenue and their sales.
Interesting.
But on the same side, like the laws are so strict on text marketing that you have to really dot your I's and cross your T's. Like you're going to text somebody in your order page, it has to be very clear. There's very specific legal language you have to use around it. Like, hey, I checked this box and I agree to receive shipping notifications, promotional emails, right. Or promotional texts. When you're doing outbound text, there has to be an indication of where they can click to stop. Like it has to be it's a very, very specific rule set. And if you break those rule sets, there's lawyers all over America that will opt in different places looking to trap you. And looking to settle with you for a big lump sum, because I think the law says for every text you send out, illegally to somebody, it's something like, I don't know, it's like $10 per text fine. Wow. It's enormous. And I remember being at an event like a year and a half ago where a guy, very successful guy, 8-figure e-commerce guy, came into the room at the event we were at in full-blown tears. And he's like, we just got hit with $180 million SMS lawsuit.
Oh, wow.
Like it goes big, fast.
Right.
Like it's really, really egregious, the fines for it. So it's really effective, but you just have to make sure that you just follow the letter of the law to a T.
Yep.
And if you do, you have nothing to be concerned about.
Right.
But you got to make sure you don't slip up.
Right.
Or you'd be in trouble.
Right.
So I don't know, how much SMS do you layer into your stuff?
We do SMS here and there whenever it's like event based, so like we have a couple live streams, like a live stream client working right now. So we send out SMS to his people. They are opted in for SMS notifications. Because, it was basically to send a reminder about the live stream, so they are good. Other than that, we try not to be terribly invasive with SMS, just in general, as a rule. Sometimes I really appreciate them. Like I actually just put in like an embroidered like t-shirt order, and so I got an SMS that said, your stuff is hitting the assembly line or the printing line or whatever, which was super cool. It was like, oh, all right, got it. So it'll be here in like 4 or 5 days,
Yeah.
But otherwise, some of them are like 10% discount. It's like, you could have just emailed it to me.
Yeah. It's sort of like this story I read the other day and I was laughing. It's like, if you think back to the 1950s, right? If somebody showed up to your door and knocked, it was like this major event. Like, oh my goodness, like Sally's here. Like, let's get out to Fine China and let's get some cake and some coffee. And everybody, Sally's here. And everything. Oh, somebody showed up to visit us and everyone was so excited. And now somebody shows up unknown and knocks on my door. I'm like, I'm losing my mind. What is happening here? I am so offended and so angry that somebody is knocking on my door without telling me they're coming.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sort of the same thing with the email, right? Like everybody gets emailed, like they expect to get emailed. They're like, but SMS is like a level up. Like what are you doing? Texting my phone, right? Yeah. And then like a phone call now, like when somebody calls my phone, like even if it's one of my friends, they're just like randomly. I'm like, what are you doing? Like no prep text, like, like, no like preface of what we're talking. What you think I got all the time in the world, right? Like it's funny how we've like evolved as a species, and what like irritates us. And SMS is like a level up from email, and then outbound phone calls is like another level up from SMS. So you got to be cautious about when and where you use them, and use them wisely so that you get the most impact out of it. As far as the next automation for us, and again, I think a lot of people overlook it, and we've talked about it before, is just the upsell and downsell paths. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, we pick up an average again of another 10% of revenue, through upsells and downsell paths, and people, they know they should do it, but they don't for whatever reason. And even if they do, usually they'll throw in one and they won't test it.
Yep.
And upsells and downsell paths are in e-com are reasonably easy. You can just offer more of the same thing at a discount, or you can offer something that matches. Yep. Or you can say, hey, get one as a gift for a friend. Yep. Or, there's a few that are pretty standard. Mm-hmm. And then your downsell is just a better deal on the upsell. Right. But putting one is, in my mind, is mandatory. Yeah. Putting three, is ideal. Like in my mind, there is no too much. Like people like, oh, I get offended when there's like 8,000 upsells. Well, then don't buy them. Right. I'm more concerned about the cart value, than the fact that you didn't like seeing all the upsells. Like it's expensive to buy media. So, and there things can be, set up, tested for a month, find an optimal number, and then you just leave them, and they're just chunking along. And e-commerce, I feel like more people overlook it. Mm-hmm. Whereas in info marketing, it's like, it's the business model. Like it's mandatory. Yep. And I had a great conversation yesterday, and I'm sure you can give some insight on it, with a guy that literally wrote the book on gaining followers on social media. Like he consults like huge brands and artists and musicians and like all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And only this month did he have an upsell into a higher priced product in his funnel, and it's not even correct. Like I went through it and went, this is all wrong. Right. This guy's spending $90,000 a month on paid ads and grossing 130, and I'm like, should be like $1 million. Right. Right. Especially with the credibility this guy has, and so in the info marketing space, there's a very specific science to your upsells and your downsells in your model that actually make the whole thing profitable. Right. And if you don't have them, you don't have a business. Which is why you don't see anybody out selling books, like physical books, where they just sell the book and then they go to a thank you page and they're like, "Oh, thanks for buying my book," because it would cost them $100 to make a book sale, and they'd be underwater, immediately.
Well, even like the Funnel Factor textbook that I sent you. So I'm getting a proof next week. That book. The cost to print that book is $24. Wow! Because it's full color, 274 pages, and it's a full 8.5 by 11. And then I don't know yet. It's going to be expensive.
Let's call it $7. So
because it's definitely not medium mail. Yeah,
right. Your $30 cost, and then there's the actual cost per acquisition of the marketing. Right. And if you're going to charge like you. If we sell a book for free plus shipping,
Yep.
You know, so just pay the shipping cost, $7.
Yep.
You know, on a really good book, it's going to cost us about $30 to make that sale.
Yeah, totally.
So it cost us 30.
Yeah.
Right. They paid 7.
Yep.
So we're in for 23.
Mm-hmm.
Then the actual book cost 24.
Yeah.
Right. So 23 plus 24, we're in the hole $47.
Yeah. Before breaking a sweat. Right. Yeah. And then, then thank you, confirmation.
Yeah. Congratulations. You made a sale. We lost $47.
Right.
If you don't have that upsell path behind it, you can kiss your savings goodbye. You know, you could go out and say, well, I'm going to become a bestseller. I'm going to sell 100,000 books in my first 6 months.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's going to cost you $4.6 million.
Which is how a lot of people do it. I'm sure you've met the professional New York Times best-selling people, and their guarantee is, I will make you a bestseller. It's going to cost $1 million to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because in 900,000 of that is buying your own book. You know?
Right? It's insane.
Yeah.
Or you could create a business model that actually made that whole thing profitable and become a bestseller.
Right.
I don't know which road you want to take.
I'm thinking the latter. Yeah.
Thinking the latter. But, you know, that's, and I'll wrap it up with this. You know, when I was talking to this guy yesterday, who I like a lot and is extremely successful, you know, his skill set lies in the brand building, awareness, social media, paid social media, but going viral. You know, I just call it branding, right? It's branding and awareness side of the business.
Yep.
And, you know, the reality is he wants to create a money machine to offset his consulting fees, because consulting fees are very intensive.
Yep.
But with all of his marketing wizardry and knowledge, he doesn't know how to do direct response marketing.
Right.
He doesn't know how to create the angle and the hook and the funnel and the ascension and the automations and everything else to make it work. In the same way that I don't know how to run, you know, Rihanna's social media. Like it's not my jam. I know enough about it to be dangerous, but not good.
Right.
And he was sort of the same, as he knew the terms and he knew that, but he didn't know the art side
of it. Yeah, totally.
Of it. Not enough time in the trenches. And my daughter this morning, I was talking to her about him, and she was all excited because I dropped some like big names that he's working with and whatever. And she's like, why does he need to hire you?
Right.
And I had to explain to her like the difference between branding and direct response, and that they're not, one's not better than the other. They just are like, they're like completely different planets.
Yep.
Even though you think they're the same thing, because they're both
in the same ecosystem or the same galaxy.
Yeah, but they're just not. Like one's like a bike and one's like a car. You know, they're just different. So, you know, what we talk a lot about in these calls is the direct response world, not the branding world. And the great thing is if you can get proof of concept with direct response marketing and prove that it will sell, then when you invest your money in the brand side of it, you win everything.
Well, that's like Ezra and Boom. I mean, that's what he did. He started 4 years ago. It was direct response. 4 or 5 now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now the brand is much bigger collectively than just the products that he started off with.
Yeah, I think they're going to do somewhere around 50 million in revenue this year. Yeah. And I don't know what the valuation on a company like that would be, but I probably guess it's in the neighborhood of $600 to $800 million.
Something like that, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think we can wrap it up though. I know you got visitors in your office.
Yeah. Saban, come say hi. Come here.
We're at
No, you're not gonna say hi?
No?
Okay.
Shy.
Yeah.
It's because he doesn't have a Facebook shirt.
Right, exactly. All right, man. You have fun. Have a great weekend.
Everybody enjoy your weekends.
And next Friday, we'll, I don't know, figure out something else cool to talk about.
Absolutely.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Later.
Bye.
What's that?